that you don't believe in God. When I tell you that bitch turned her face, she was sitting right here, she said, look like a demon. And say, no. I said, you gotta get the fuck out of here. Get the holy water, bitch. You got to go. I started throwing water on the bitch.
I'm not gonna hold y'all. I am not religious, right? And normally I don't like tell people that because I mean it rarely gets brought up in conversation. And honestly, if it does get brought up in conversation, still a lot of times I don't tell people that because as you see from this video, y'all do the absolute most, right? So a lot of times when people start talking about religious stuff, I just be like, yep, amen, praise them, right? Because I don't be wanting to go back and forth with y'all. Because me personally, I don't really care. So, like, you know, I don't want to have a whole conversation about it. And a lot of religious people take it upon themselves to try to convert every non-religious person that they come across. So I'd rather just avoid that, right? So, again, most of the time, I don't tell people I'm not religious. But I'm not going to hold you. I could see myself if I was around some super religious people like this who were doing the most. I could see myself be like, actually, I don't believe in God. Just to have him react because, like, girl, what are you doing? Now, I don't know what this lady is because she ain't black, okay? The guy who posted it, he has a Hispanic sounding name. Now, he looks like he might be black. So maybe like his grandma not black, but she had kids with a black person. And then they had kids with a black person or something. Because he looks like that boneless sort of black. You know, it's like, you look black, but something's off. I can see you having a non-black grandparent, okay? So it looks like that, right? So I'm not going to, you know, pin her behavior on black people or anything like that. But let's just have a general conversation about how so many oppressed groups really take on the identity of their oppressors and they are like really adamant about it. In fact, I had a conversation with some non-black Hispanics. This was online, right? And they were talking about they make fun of like the Hispanic people who are born in America and don't speak Spanish. So they call them like no sabe or no hablo kids, whatever they call them, right? Because they saying you don't speak Spanish, right? And they were like, oh yeah, you know, like y'all whitewashed, y'all speak English. And I had to ask myself, baby, where you think Spanish come from? Cause that ain't no Native American language or nothing, baby. That's whitewashed too. So you sitting here making fun of your kids cause they don't speak Spanish, but I mean they speak another colonizer language. So I mean, like, what? But this brings me back to my point. Some of y'all really take on the identity of your oppressors and really pretend that it's yours for real, for real, for real. I swear a lot of people have this mentality of let me just not think about it. And that's not just about religion or colonization or whatever, right? A lot of people take that approach to everything in their lives. Like, they won't be able to afford to keep the lights on. They'll be like, let me just not think about it. Then the lights get cut off and it's like, okay, now what, right? A lot of people just avoid uncomfortable things. And honestly, it's very uncomfortable to think about something like this. Like, I understand firsthand, baby. I was raised in the church. I was a Bible thumper through and through. I get it. I really do, right? I understand when something is that big of a part of your identity, you know what I'm saying? And it's hard to think about the fact that, one, it just doesn't make no damn sense. Like, y'all, let's be honest. The average Christian has never read the Bible through and through. And y'all about to be in the comments, I have. Okay, that's funny how every time I say this, magically everybody in the comments is the handful of Christians who's read the Bible through and through. Because y'all know good and well, most Christians go to church every Sunday and all they do is look at one scripture that the pastor talks about and that's it. The average Christian is not sitting down actually reading the Bible and studying it and stuff, right? So when you sit down and you actually read the Bible, it's like, this shit is kind of dumb. Like, you know what I'm saying? So first it's like, well, this shit doesn't make no damn sense, period, off jump. But then also the only reason I'm believing in this is because my ancestors were abducted and forced to convert to this. And I mean, they didn't have no choice but to pass it down, because if we didn't believe in this, white people would have did who knows what to us, right? That's a very uncomfortable thought to have. So most people take their regular approach to stuff and they just say, you know what, I won't think about it at all. You want to know what the saddest thing in the world to me is? When I see an old motherfucker who's dumb. So he posted his grandma on here. Oh, let me get the holy water. You how old? you how old and you've never sat down and had a single critical thought in your life. Like that just, first of all, that says a lot about your lack of intelligence, right? But then it also says something about the fact that you're spineless, you're cowardly, you're scared to think those uncomfortable thoughts, right? I would have a lot more patience with people like this if they were young. You know what I'm saying? If you in your teens, your 20s or something, okay, you know what I'm saying? You still young, you still figuring stuff out, you still indoctrinated, but you got the nerve to be 70 years old and still be stupid as the day you came onto this earth. That's not acceptable. That's not okay. You want to know what confuses me the most about religious people? And let me make it very clear that I am not just talking about Christians, because for some reason, whenever I make a video about religious people, y'all always be like, oh, you're always talking about Christians and Catholics. I'm talking about all religious people. Like, I will make a post and I'll say, oh yeah, religious people, so and so and so. And I'll get comments like, oh, but you only talk about Christians, so and so. Didn't nobody say nothing about Christians. So let me make it very clear. The woman in this video is a Christian woman, but I'm talking about all religious people, baby. If you're religious, I'm typing at in your name. Come on, slide, because this is about you, okay? The craziest thing about religious people is that they pretend that their religion gives them morality, right? They'll sit there and they'll look at a non-religious person and say some ignorant shit like this. Oh, let me get the holy water. It was like a demon's face. So and so and so. Have you ever met a religious person? Have you ever met a religious person? Because we all know what's going on in these religious families and what's going on in the church, in the mosque, and the whatever. But y'all got the audacity to pretend that your religion gives you morality? Are you kidding me? This is my thing. Religious people be some of the meanest, nastiest, most hateful people in the world, right? But they'll really sit there and believe that they're going to heaven because they believe in God, right? They'll sit there and tell somebody like me, who is a wonderful person, that I'm going to go to hell because I don't believe in God. And they hateful ass is going to go to heaven because they do it. Y'all, let me give y'all an example, right? Let me give y'all an example. Because I was raised religious. My parents are still very, very Christian, right? So, y'all, there is this lady, and I made a video about this a couple years ago. So if you've been subscribed to me for a while, then you remember this video, right? There is this lady, we're going to call her Miss Jennifer, okay? This lady is very disabled. She has issues with her hips, so she has mobility issues, right? So she has a walker, and when she goes to the grocery store, she has to, sit in like the motorized, wheelchair grocery carts and stuff, right? So this woman did not live far away from my parents, right? So every time I would visit my parents, I would always make sure she was good, right? And she would ask me to take her to the grocery store because, again, she has mobility issues. So it's going to be impossible for her to walk to the bus stop, stand there waiting on the bus, because most of the bus stops ain't got no benches or nothing, get on the bus, walk to the store, from the bus stop and all of that stuff, right? And then also, the stores that she could take the bus to, they didn't have like mobility carts, right? So I would take her to the Meyer, man, where is that at? I'm thinking you get on, I can't even think. It's a Meyer and a Costco. That's like, I don't know. I can't think of the city, right? But anyway, I would take her to Meyer, right? Now, mind you, I did not even live in Detroit at the time, okay? This is when I was in graduate school, and I lived in fucking Ypsilanti, okay? So I would drive from Ypsilanti to Detroit to get this woman, take her to Meyer, take her back home, then drive back to fucking Ypsilanti to my house. Mind you, that's motherfucking far, right? I would do this out of the kindness of my heart because this woman is disabled and she needs fucking help, right? So one day I get to her house, right? And I park in this one spot. Because mind you, in front of her house, there are like these concrete flower beds, right? So, of course, she has mobility issues. She can't step over those things, right? So I had to park in a spot that wasn't in front of those, right? So I'm in this spot all of 30 seconds, right? And then this black man pulls up behind me, right? Him and his wife, okay? So apparently I'm in their parking spot. Now, that is not actually fucking true because I'm parked on the motherfucking street. Y'all don't have assigned parking spots. Now, I know that this is his apartment, so clearly, like he's a resident. He wants to believe he has assigned parking, but bitch, y'all don't have no fucking assigned parking. Like, take that up with your bill and tell them, hey, we need assigned parking or whatever, because right now it's just a free-for-all, right? So he pulls up behind me and he gets out his car and he's like, oh, excuse me, you in my parking spot. Now I'm thinking, bitch, I'm parked on the motherfucking street. It ain't no signs that say resident parking only. It ain't none of that. It ain't no signs that say this is for resident number 123. Bitch, you don't have an assigned parking spot. The fuck? But I ain't even going into all that. I was just like, oh, I'm sorry. I'm just here to pick up Miss Jennifer. Mind you, Miss Jennifer's also black. Everybody in this story is black, right? So I'm like, oh, I'm just here to pick up Miss Jennifer. I'm just sitting in this spot for a minute while she comes out, right? Mind you, this is not a big apartment building. So he knows Miss Jennifer. He knows that she's disabled, right? And then what I learned after this is that him and Miss Jennifer have known each other for 20 fucking years. They know my mom and daddy too, all of that, right? So I say to him, I'm like, oh yeah, I'm just here to pick up Miss Jennifer, like, can you just give me a minute or two till she get out here, right? So he like, oh, you can park at a different spot, wait for her, so. I said, no, I can't because the raised flower beds are in the way. She has hip issues, so she can't step over that, right? This nigga gonna say to me, oh, she not that disabled. So at that point, I said, little boy, get out of my face. Because one thing about me, I'm going to call all my elders little boy or little girl if they acting stupid. Because if you acting like a child, I'm going to call you a motherfucking child, right? So I said, little boy, get from out my car, right? So then he was like, little boy, something, yada, yada, yada. I said, little boy, when you act like an adult, you will be treated like an adult. Until then, you will be called little boy. So back up from by my car, little boy, right? So then here his wife come, right? And mind you, I'm telling this whole story. I have not gotten off track. Don't worry. I'm going to get back to where I was, okay? I'm not just rambling here, right? So his wife come, and she leaning on my car, right? And she like, oh, you called my son little boy something. I said, ma'am, your son acts like a child. So until he, finds it in him to act like he got some sense and, act like a grown man, he going to be referred to as little boy, right? So then she like, oh, that's disrespectful, something, yada, yada, yada. So then I'm like, bitch, get off of my car. Because she leaning on my car and said, bitch, get the fuck off of my car. How about that since we want to be disrespectful? So then Miss Jennifer get out there, right? So I'm like, Miss Jennifer, come on, because it's time to go because these people crazy, right? So then they like, oh, Miss Jennifer, you know her. Who is this? So. I said, bitch, I am Flower Tower. But I said my real name, right? I was like, you could have asked me who the fuck I was, bitch. Like, I'm not out here with no motherfucking mask on. It's not a secret, bitch. You could have asked me that, right? So I said, I am Flower Tower, right? So then Miss Jennifer like, oh, yeah, that's Flower Tower. That's so-and-so daughter, right? So she say my parents' name. No, that's their daughter. So then these two crazy motherfuckers, they like, what, this so-and-so daughter? I never would have thought so-and-so. So I said, well, bitch, now you motherfucking know because, bitch, stop fucking talking to me, right? But this is my thing. And I got on their ass about this, right? They live in the same building as Miss Jennifer. And I told them this at some point during this verbal altercation, right? They know good and well that woman is disabled to the point where she cannot get to the grocery store and whatever. She needs transportation, right? They know that shit. Do you think that they will take her to the grocery store, though? Do you think that? Apparently not, right? Now, this is my thing. Maybe they like, oh, we don't want to be bothered. That's a lot to have to take her and wait for her and stuff. Okay, well, when you go to the store, how about just tell her, hey, I'm going to the store. Do you need anything? I can grab you something, whatever. Just send me the money, right? Do you think they even do that? No. But would you believe that these two people are devout Christians? Would you believe that? Right? They live in a building with a woman who's so disabled that she would starve and die if I didn't take her to the grocery store, right? But do you think they say, oh, you know what? Why is Flock Tower coming all the way from Ypsilanti to take this woman to the store when we live in the same fucking building? Do you think that? No, these motherfuckers sat in the same building as her for 20 fucking years and didn't bother to help her out even a fucking little bit. And this is the crazy thing. Not only is Miss Jennifer disabled, right? Like she's physically disabled. She has mobility issues, like I said. She also has a disabled son. He's mentally disabled, right? So she's trying to take care of her fucking son. Mind you, she's old and broke down. Like I can't imagine how hard it must be for her trying to take care of a grown man who's mentally disabled, right? And these motherfuckers live in the same building as her and never stop to think, hey, Miss Jennifer, let's give you a little help. We go into the store, we could grab you some food while we there or something. Never, ever, ever. But these motherfuckers are Christians, bro. These motherfuckers are Christians. And if you ask them, they going to heaven and I'm not because I'm not a Christian. Are you fucking serious? Like, you sound dumb as fuck. These motherfuckers be in church every fucking week. They the pastor, the pastor's wife, leading the motherfucking Bible study, the Sunday school, whatever. Them type of motherfuckers. But they leave a disabled woman and her disabled son to fucking perish and die. I gotta drive out from fucking Ypsilanti to take her to the store because the Christians who live in her building don't give enough fucks to be like, hey, we at the store. Do you need something while we here, right? But again, these are the motherfuckers who think that they going to heaven and will look down on somebody like me because I'm not religious and be talking about, who get the holy water. You bitches is out of your fucking minds.